welcome to Miss Drea.
Thank you so much for tuning in to part 2 Gen Z discussion with Maya and Robyn.
All right, so we're gonna flip the script just a little bit. They're gonna ask me some questions. I don't know how this about to go, y'all, but we're gonna see what they got, and I'm gonna answer them as truthful as possible, without spilling too much tea. But yeah, let's have at it. So who's going first?
I would say, what are some things that you feel as though from your childhood affect the decisions like you make today? Like, I feel as though because of my background of what I went through as a child, or like my experiences like from childhood, I am a little bit more secure with my story. I don't like, I'm not quick to tell somebody. Like, that's even in like friendship relationships or like, intimate relationships. I'm not gonna be the one to relinquish everything about me, because I don't know, like, I'm very guarded, because that communication wasn't there at a young age. So
right. The thing is, there's some things that happen at growing up that either I'm embarrassed about, I'm ashamed of. So like you say, I am guarded to that aspect, and so it's some stuff that I'm quite sure that I will take to my grave. But my upbringing, it wasn't horrible. I will say, and I've said often, that my mom worked a lot, so she wasn't there to provide that motherly daughterly bond. I think now, as I'm getting older, we can communicate a lot better. I can ask her questions, and she has shared some things, and so I appreciate that, being able to see her side a little bit. That's why I say the older that you get, maybe you'll be able to talk to some of those things with your mom about.
And also when you're out the house.
Yeah, that part too, because you see differently. You see a lot of different stuff, and it's like, okay, now you see what I had to go through. But my like I said, my upbringing wasn't horrible, but seeing how my dad controlled a lot and my mom was really, really passive about some things, that really dictated how I moved. Because I was like, I know I wanted a husband, and that this was gonna be to the end, to death do us part. But I knew that I wasn't gonna have nobody that controlled me. I knew I needed to go to school. I needed to have my own job so I can have my own money, so we can work as a partnership and not a dictatorship, because that's not what's gonna happen. We're gonna make these decisions together, and we're gonna make them for the betterment of our relationship, for our family. But nobody's going to be completely in control of everything. And so I think that was really, really important for me to have a mate and not a control freak, because I think I'm an A type person, and so I'm very, very, very strong-willed. And if I want to do something, I'm gonna do it, and I'm not gonna let anybody stop me from doing it. And so I've often said, by all means necessary. I really could be a Malcolm X follower. I love Dr. King too, but Malcolm X, by any means necessary, I was gonna make sure that we were good. When I left my hometown 2 weeks after graduation. I mean, like, we graduated May 20 something. I was in Atlanta June something. It was rocky, but I was determined not to go back home. I think I've called my mom one time, and it was because I needed $50 to get me some contacts, and I needed her to co-sign on my apartment. I've been living on my own since I was 19. I got my first apartment at 19. So I had to have that go-getter attitude. I had to be like, by any means necessary, I was going to make it. So I had loans, but I paid my rent. Ain't nothing got cut off, thank God. I've been out since 19. I may have had some delinquency notices, but ain't nothing got cut off yet. Never. Ain't no yet, because at this point, it ain't finna get cut off. But yeah, I would say that was the reason for my drive, is what I saw at home. Yeah.
Okay, my question is, how do you evolve with, like, knowing back then how things work and now versus, like, just how we act and how y'all act, how y'all dress, how we dress, just like the disconnect with parenting?
The disconnect, I think about growing up when I was your age, my parents, my grandparents said the same thing. These kids ain't got no sense. They ain't got no respect for nobody. They don't got no self-control. And it's like, the mentality was a little bit different. We didn't act out vocally or as much as y'all do, because y'all got a lot of mouth, and see that's probably why y'all get hit in the mouth a lot, because y'all have a lot of mouth. We grew up in this area of, you come out the mouth, you finna get hit in the mouth by a pot, a pan, a shoe, a ball, whatever. You finna. So we treaded. See, no, we weren't. You know what? Our mama would give us the phone to call 911, because then know what they were gonna say. You take them with you. And so the police knew that they couldn't take us. So it was like, okay, call 911 if you want to. It was like that muddy. I make you call now or help you call 911. But it wasn't hard for me to make that adjustment, because I am in the middle. Like, I graduated high school in '99, so we were moving into the millennial, and so a lot of things were changing. That social media was coming out. I didn't jump on the social media bandwagon quickly. I didn't get a Facebook page until I don't know when. I didn't even get what was the first one? MySpace or something like that. I never had a MySpace page. And so I was, like I said, I hit the social media bandwagon a little bit later, and so I'm not even a social media person now. I post, sparingly, but I felt like I was always open to that era of whatever, designer wise, clothing wise. I've been more independent. I don't follow the trend. I make my own. I know what looks good on me, and then I will sport that. I wear the clothes. I don't let the clothes wear me, or I wear the makeup or the hairstyle. I don't let it wear me. And so I think a lot of that goes to being true to yourself. You don't have to follow every bandwagon. You don't have to follow every trend. Like them big knotless braids, like that right there is not the business for me. I cannot, it's like you got 4 big braids going across it. No, that's not gonna work for me. I don't like that. And so I never went on that. And so it's like certain things that you just have to know what works for you and what doesn't. And so I was able to make that transition, and like something that I think, like the ripped jeans, that's something that we wore in the 80s, and then it just kind of flipped back. A lot of things are just coming back, even like the bell-bottom pants, they're starting to come back. A lot of stuff that we wore in the 80s or that they wore in the 70s, because I was born in 80. And so it's coming back into style. Like music-wise, y'all don't make no new music. Y'all just remaking stuff. I'm like, dang, that was Luther Vandross's song. That was Chris, that was somebody else's song. And then I'm finding out that, what was the song? It was some song that somebody remade like last year that had been remade like 5 times. It was like, is it You Ain't Nothing But a Hound Dog? I thought that was Elvis Presley's song. Come to find out, somebody black made that in like the 30s or 40s.
Influenced by black.
Yeah, right. So it's like, y'all ain't making nothing new. Y'all just remaking stuff. Y'all just touching up stuff, like all these different dances and stuff. The Running Man, that one number, the MC Hammer. So it wasn't hard for me to make that connection or make that transition, because I've always been open, and I've always been secure in who I am and what I stand for. And I honestly believe that, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So be true to you, and don't be so quick to get on the bandwagon with everything else.
Okay, hold on, one more. How do you evolve with, like, you got a daughter, how, like, we wear crop tops and certain stuff. How do you evolve with, okay, this is the clothes that she likes. How do you, like, try to find a common ground, I guess, with the way that you like to dress and the way that she likes to dress?
See, and that's the thing. When I was y'all age, I always had like a little gut, so I didn't wear the crop tops, but I wore tank tops all the time. I wore halter tops, and I wore the short shorts. So I get it. But like my guideline for her was classy, not trashy. So it's okay to show a little cleavage. It's okay you want your little Daisy Dukes on, but just don't have all your palm hanging out, all your breasts is hanging out. Like, have a limit. Be like I say, classy, not trashy. You can be, I guess, sexy in a way, but not to a point where it's like trashy and you're showing all your body. And it's age appropriate, because now that she's 20, I can set a guideline, or instead of me be like, go take that off, I can be like, that's showing too much, that don't look good. And so she honors my opinion. Now and then, it's a place for it's a time and a place for everything. When you're just going to a cookout with family, yes, you still need to cover yourself. Now if you're 20, 21, you going hanging out with your friends at a cookout, like a student cookout, or community cookout, then yes, you might want to be a little bit more appealing, but you have to be prepared for that attention. If you want the attention from the guys, you want the girls to be turning their nose up because they wish they had much booty as you, or much breast as you. So you just have to be prepared for what you're wearing is gonna bring. If you want to be a little conservative, but just be a little bit more sexy or whatever, then just kind of have that boundary. But just don't have all your stuff hanging out looking sloppy and trashy.
What advice would you give to parents who aren't used to being as open, and if their children are like older, how to approach it?
Oh, one advice I would say is remember how you were at that age. Remember what you was doing, who you was doing, where you was doing it at. And then instead of being condescending or being judgmental, give advice and let them see your side of it, because they'll never know, like she said before, why you're acting this way, because they don't know you from that era. So give them information on what you did, why you did it, and what consequence came behind it. Because that's another thing. Everything that you do, everything that we say has a consequence. It could come back to bite you years later. One thing I was saying, this is kind of maybe a little bit off, but in 3rd grade, me and one of my classmates went up for the football. His head hit my teeth, and I had a small, like a little hairline gap. It closed my gap. How about when I was 30, I had to have surgery on that tooth because they said I had some type of trauma, and I was like, no, I didn't. And then I was like, yeah, in 3rd grade. That was the consequence, which came along almost 30 years later. So everything that you do is gonna affect you in the long run. So being, letting your kids know that, and letting them see like how something that you did negatively, how it affected you in the long run. I would say one thing that I told my daughter that in college, they don't, when they buy books back, you've been paid $80 for the book, but they want to buy it back for $15. So what I would do is I would change the tag on the book and take it back and get the full amount. And so I got caught. I didn't get arrested, but they did take me down to the police department, and it was like, oh wow, I'm finna get booked. And they didn't book me, but it was fearful. It put enough fear in me, because now when I apply for a job, I put it on there, even though it doesn't show up on my record, but I put it on there, and I feel so bad because it's like, I got this clean slate, and who knows that, this might pop up. This might come to bite me in the butt somewhere down the line. So being transparent and being open about what the consequences could be. You wanna brush your teeth every day so you can have pretty teeth, or you wanna just keep eating candy so you can have rotten teeth. What consequence you want? What you want to come out in the end, and then go from there, and being able to lay out the pros and the cons. When the pros outweigh the cons, then yeah, we can move forward with that. But if the cons outweigh the pros, then we might need to find another situation, or might need to find another direction to go in. So
okay, cool. I'm not a parent though. So.
Right. So.
But another one of my questions would have to be is, you pertained like a go-getter attitude at a young age from your upbringing of like your household, or and pursued that in school. And we grew up like Metro Atlanta area, like we didn't get the country Dawsonville
Mm-hmm.
environment where you tend to want to see what's out there because you haven't been out there. You want to know where you fit in that. So how did you pursue, like, allow or like let your children want to pursue that go-getter attitude even though they weren't in the environment that you were in? And like,
Gotcha. I would say I exposed them to different things. We went to games. We didn't travel as much because our finances weren't at that point where we could do as much traveling as we can now. And so that's what we're trying to do now, is to provide that exposure to different things. And then I put them in a lot of activities, like with the podcasting thing. I like being in front of the camera, so I like the arts, I like the craft, the craft of that. I like building up this character, and so I did a lot of theater with the church, and so I let them see, okay, they saw me on stage, they saw me doing, and so it opened their eyes for them to want to do. And so that's why both of my kids have been in some of the productions that I've been in, and they enjoyed it. My son is kind of falling away from it, but I think just exposing them to different things and letting them see, yeah, it's possible. Even if we're not financially stable to do everything, we can pick and choose some of the things. Like we would go down to Krog Street and take pictures by the graffiti wall and let them see. We went to the arts museum. We used to go to a lot of those little productions. Going to the African American History Museum, letting them see different things and just exposing them. Like my daughter, her 10th birthday, I took her to her first concert when went to see Diggy. And so that was just a lot of different things, exposing them to a lot of different things that you don't have to really come out of pocket so much, but setting your limit. If you know something that you want to do, saving for it, and then getting them to a point where they're enjoying it. And then when they get to a point where they don't, then it's like, okay. But I will say that did hurt me because I allowed, like my daughter did, she didn't do piano, my son did piano, but she did like ballet, jazz, hip hop. She played basketball, she cheered, and when she got bored of it, or when and she did karate, when it got too hard, she wanted to quit, and I let her quit. And she will tell you now that hurt her because it put her in the mentality of, if I don't want to do it, I don't have to do it.
Yeah.
Or if it's getting too tough, then I don't have to do it. And so I wish I would have pushed her a little bit harder, even though she still likes to dance. But she didn't have that wherewithal to stick with it and push through it when it did get tough. And so she's learning now that some of the things, when it gets tough, you still have to keep trying until you perfect it. Like she's a hairstylist, so some of the styles don't come easy to her, so she wants to keep trying until she perfects it. And so I think that is that's a good thing, because she has that go, she's developing that go-getter mentality. And my son, like, he played sports, and so basketball didn't come as easy to him as it came for me, but we got him training, and so now his speed is picked up, his ball handling skills have picked up, his shooting skills have picked up, and so it's like, okay, if this is what you want to do, let's work on it, let's build it. If even if we get to a point where we cannot financially provide for continuous training or whatever, then I don't mind going outside. I'm real hands-on. Let's go out here to this court and let me beat you in 21. Let me show you some of my shooting skills and some of my ball handling skills, and try to be more hands-on and in our ability to expose them to different things. So I think it is the social media has brainwashed y'all so much into think that I got to have it right now. And it's like, no.
Don't
be
patient.
nobody
calls.
Let's work on it. Right. Let's get to a point where you can appreciate it and you've earned it.
You worked hard.
Right. You worked hard for it. That's just like, okay, my daughter is fixing her hair room up. We redid the floors, and maybe we'll show that to y'all. Yeah, we have some video footage that we're going to show. But she helped lay the tile on the floor. She is painting we are not just doing. And I told her she's gonna use it, she's gonna work for it. And so now she's working and she can see the fruits of her labor. And she can appreciate what she created. And so that's kind of something that we're just trying to instill into them. Work hard for what you want.
Okay, I think it's my last one. How do you deal with? How do you deal with, because you have a girl and a boy, keeping it equal? Because I know a lot of parents.
That's one of yours.
I had a rebuttal.
A lot of parents don't keep it equal. Like, I don't know the exact saying, but like they build their daughters and they protect their sons or something.
Yeah.
They raise their daughters and protect their sons or something like that. There will never be an equal, but it you find a balance in the time, because the time is changing. When my daughter was in elementary school, we were home. I had an in-home daycare, so I didn't have to give her a cell phone for her to call me when she was somewhere, because I was right here. I went and picked her up. I brought her home. Like it wasn't a time when we was not in the house. Now my son, on the other hand, I went out. I had closed my daycare, so I went out and I was working. I'm working in the school system. So yeah, he had to get a phone earlier because I wasn't at the house. I was at my school, and so I had to make sure that he got with whoever he was supposed to get with, and that he was taken to where he needed to be taken to, so I can pick him up. So and then it just happens because she's the older. Now, if it was vice versa with my son was the oldest, then I think it would have been the same kind of way. It's never gonna be a set time. She got a brand new phone. She got $1,000 phone when she was in 8th grade. He's in 8th grade. He did not get $1,000 phone. Our cousin gave him a phone. It'll never be equal. So we just try to find a balance, and then let y'all see, because you're the oldest. Let you see that we do more things for you, and then so that way we have to balance out what we're doing for them, so that we're being equal. That you're getting an equal amount of attention on both sides. Rather it's you going to training, you got baseball games or softball games, you got touch football games, and you got track. So that's a lot. That's time that's put out. That's money that's put out for uniforms. That's money that's put out for training. So now your brother's got to have something that's going to balance that. And so sometimes, financially it won't be an equal balance, but we can put more time into what they need and what they want, and et cetera, et cetera. So you try to be fair, but sometimes life is not always fair. Just gotta deal with it and keep pushing.
Okay, I got 2 questions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so my first one is, do you feel as though there's an importance to be transparent about your good and bad days with your children? Like, they're letting them see you cry, when you're at your lowest, when you're at your peak, like.
I'm a bag of water when it comes to like stuff that's emotional. Like when it gets to like serious stuff, and it's like I'm trying to express myself and I'm really, really passionate about it. I would say I do allow them to see me cry. They can't help but see me cry because it just comes out. I can't control it. But I would say sometimes I do try to be strong for them, and I let them lean on me. But it has to be. Sometimes it's a limit. I did see like Lauren London when she was talking about when she lost her, I would say husband, but when she lost Nipsey, and she talked about how she did let her kids see that she was really, really down and depressed to a certain extent. But then she had to get to the point where she was like, okay, their lives cannot be depressed or silenced because I'm going through this. Mm-hmm. So she had to pick herself up, dust herself off, and say, okay, we're going to do this, and make sure the kids were still being kids and still living their lives, even though she felt a certain way inside. And so I think we still have to, for me, it's important for me to keep pushing forward, but they do recognize that something is different. And then I do talk to them, like, this summer we've had to deal with a lot of death in our family. And so talking to them and letting them see the importance of being respectful towards your loved ones, spending time with your loved ones, because we don't know the day or the hour, and you can be here today, gone tomorrow. And so it's important to make sure you're still connecting with them on a different level, not just calling them when you want something or need something, but calling them just to say hey. Being there, you know, when it's an important event for them. Like my daughter, she did a lot of stuff, you know, she did this fashion show and she does all this stuff on campus. So yes, going to Savannah, it's a 4-hour drive, but when it's something that we know is important to her, we pack up and we go. And so we make sure we're there to support her.
My second one is, I think Maya was trying to talk about how you like discipline more as than financial standpoint for children between genders, because you want to make sure that as a female you're not on top of them so hard so where they feel as though they're getting the unfair treatment because they are a female. And I do understand that, you know, that at least for us, me and Maya, both our parents were teen parents. And as though, although I wasn't the result of her teen pregnancy, I feel as though my teenage years were trying to make sure that I didn't follow those steps. And my brother didn't have to worry about that.
Gotcha. I won't say a pro advocate, but I understand both sides of the fence. And so my son is 13, and so no, he ain't staying at nobody's house that often. You know, we have like 1 or 2 cousins' house that he can go stay over, and that's it. My daughter, the same thing. She go over their house. She probably stayed over your house one time, but
yeah,
it's
like
a
New Year's.
It's a limit. Like no, I treat both of mine the same. I would say Ananda got more whoopings than Juju, because Ananda is one of the ones, like you say, you got to touch the stove to see if it's hot. She had to try me, and so it was like, well, dang. But Juju is like, boy, if you don't sit down, and he okay. So and that's why I said that would be the difference in the discipline, because how they responded. I raised my voice at Nanda. She raised her voice back at me. It's like, no, you are not my equal. So now I got to bop you. But Juju, I raised her voice at him, and he like, okay, mom. Like, I just tore his whole soul apart. So it's all in how they respond. Now, when Ananda became, no, because she got whippings when she was 13, 14. But now that she is adult age, she's 20, then it's more of, I think I done got to a point where I'm just gonna tell you what I think and how, and then I'm gonna let you decide. And then if you make the wrong decision, you're gonna have to suffer the consequences. And I keep pushing on. Just like I mentioned about her salon room, she wanted to upgrade some stuff. You think I'm finna put in all the work? No, you finna do about 75 of the work. Then me and your dad finna split the other 25. He probably take 20 and I do 5%. So I'm not.
Yeah, she don't get no one time.
Right. I do get in there and do a little, but I'm not finna do the bulk of the work. And this is to benefit you. You got to put in some work so you can appreciate it. Because it was a point when she was in 2nd or 3rd grade, I would clean her whole room, organize everything. She would come home and throwing out stuff. The devil is a lie. I'm not finna keep doing that. You finna clean it, and you're gonna clean it to my expectations, and then you can go and play, do what you wanna do. But now that she's older, I let her clean it to her level, and then I go in there and be like, okay, well, it look better than what it did look like. Because when you move out, it's gonna be a whole flip. So, but yeah, it is important to make sure you have that equal. But like I say, it's how you respond. If you got a whole lot of mouth,
can we respond to that?
You gonna get beat more than your brother gonna get beat.
I feel as though it's because the communication was never there. So when we are getting in trouble, we want to say our side of the story, and then we can't say our side of the story because we're we're already in trouble. And it's like, but when we try to communicate about it before, and even if we didn't communicate about it before, a lot of stuff is expected of us and it's never set
And
in
you
stone.
never
we
did
don't
really
we don't know what it is,
Uh-huh,
but it's
uh-huh.
expected. So it's like,
Because it's like you got all these A's in school, you don't know what you're supposed to be doing.
common sense and book smarts too.
You
to
look,
different
bingo. That's it. The nail on the head right there.
Two different
And
things.
and I think like each household has so many different expectations. Like what I probably would expect from mine, you know, your parents may not, or they may have a higher level of expectation. And so it does need to be communicated.
Mhm.
But here the other issue is like I feel like if I communicated it once, it should have stuck. But it goes back to that auditory processing, like you said at one time, and so it stuck with you for that day.
Mhm.
But now you done forgotten about it. Like
Yeah.
you don't remember, and so it's
Give me
like
5 minutes. I don't
right.
forgot.
See,
Sorry.
and that's why what I started doing is I started making lists. Like in her bathroom, it was like once you get out the tub, hang your rag up, put your headscarf on, brush your teeth, put lotion on, go to bed. You know what I'm saying? Like we gave her that outline, and so she knew what to do. And so I feel like that's what I probably need to do with Juju, because in the morning, like he has eczema, so it's like you have to, and he has asthma. You have to take your inhaler, put cream on your arm, put oil on your face, brush your teeth, get your socks. You know what I'm saying? Take your shoes downstairs. So all of that is those are just steps that you need, and sometimes you have to be reminded of that. And I know I said Monday through Friday every morning, did you put oil on? Did you put deodorant on? Did you put cream on your arm? Did you take your inhaler? Did you brush your teeth? And so he'd be downstairs and back upstairs, downstairs and back upstairs, because it's like, okay, so maybe we need to make a checkoff list. But like you
Look,
said,
I just helped you.
the common sense, right? You did. No, that's what I need to do. But that, like you said, the book sense and the common sense, and it's not just the common sense. I think it's just the remembering,
Yeah.
and being able to keep that when you got 1,001 other things on your plate. Then knowing what your parents' expectations are, that's important. So I think my because I'm in the SPED department, so we're learning a lot about these disconnects and how like you said, that communication and what it takes for you to remember things and for you to fully understand what the expectations are and what standard is set for you to say, you completed that to 100%. So yeah, I think the main thing that we have kind of danced around all day is
I got it.
what?
Talk to your children and listen.
That we all
Open the
need help.
ears, poo poo. I might get y'all some saline for them ears because y'all need to get that gunk out and start listening.
All right, so girl.
That's my dog.
Yeah, I think it is important. Communication, and for parents to not bring the stress of our jobs, whatever's going on in the world, our relationships, our financial stability, financial setbacks, not bring all of that into the home, but keeping that separate when we are interacting with our kids, trying to find like a understanding balance. Am I there yet with my child? Heck no. Am I working on it daily? Yes. And look, every minute, every second, yes. I'm finding out different ways to try to communicate with her, setting boundaries, letting her know. I think my main thing is to let her know that you are not my equal. You will never be my equal. And I say that often. You are not my equal. And so there are some things that we can talk about on a level playing field, but there is still a mother and there's a daughter. And so there's a fine line
What's that
that
line?
can't be
I'm
crossed.
saying that same thing.
It's the level of respect, the tone that you use with me. You can't talk to me how you're talking to your friends. Even though we in here skinning and grinning and talking about whatever the case may be, you can't come at me and be like, girl, I'm not your girl. I'm your mom. You can't come in, I don't expect for her to call me by my first name. And she started doing that. She's trying to be funny. But I said, I feel like it's a level of disrespect because I'm not Andrea to you. I am mommy, a mom to you. So address me as such. And then, so that way, like it's just that line. I don't want you cursing around me. You curse around your friends. And I've never been at the point where I feel like I'm comfortable cussing around my parents.
Mhm.
And I think that's the same way. I don't think kids should be cursing around their parents. Now, if your parents allow that, that's on them. But for me, right, for me, and I will say that I appreciate that because her friends, when they come in the house, they know. And when they slip up, I'm like, what you say? That's one thing. When you come in here and you are at that age, I'm gonna treat you like you my child. The guys, the girls, whatever. And so they respect me for that. And so they know that it's a level of respect that you gotta have when you come across that door. Now, when they at their house, their mom and daddy may let them do whatever. But Miss Andrea, we don't do that. We're not doing that. But and another thing is they'll come in here and they'll talk to me. They sitting at the table talking to me, and they supposed to be in there with her because I give them that outlet. I give them a chance to express themselves. One of her friends, I had to help her with her financial aid. I don't mind being that assistance because, they may not be getting it at home. But I have to set the standard. I'm not walking around with all my breasts hanging out, my butt hanging out, and walking around them being this, trying to be something that, or be they buddy, because we're not that. I'm the adult. Y'all chillin'. And we're gonna keep that line right there. We can talk about a lot of things. We can talk about everything actually, but in a respectful manner.
I got you.
Keep it respectful. Yep. Point blank. Period. Pooh. Yeah.
Hold on. Wait a minute.
What? I can't say period, Pooh.
Please no.
Look, I holler.
You are the parent.
Look, Grandma holler say period, Pooh. But yeah. But yeah, so I thank y'all so much for coming and just having this dialogue with me. Yes, y'all will be back, and we're gonna do like a little update because you getting ready to go to college. You're in your junior year of college, getting ready to start preparing for law school, and so we just want to keep up with y'all. Make sure y'all do what y'all supposed to do.
I'm in my sophomore year.
You said your class is
junior semester, next semester, spring semester.
Oh, well, your sophomore should be junior in January. So you only did only one semester of sophomore year. Mm-hmm. Cool, because you did so many credit hours. And that's what's up. Look, when you have a goal and you know what you're trying to get, make sure you're doing what you need to do. My cousin said this once. He talked to my daughter and he was saying, what is your Z? What is your end game? Where are you trying to get to? You're trying to get to DC. So make sure everything that you're doing is lining up so you can get to DC.
Yeah,
make sure everything you're doing.
Annual salary of $200K.
See, whatever you're doing, make sure it's lining up so you can get to your Z. And that's good that you're setting those goals for yourself because I didn't set goals. Mine was just get through college. I got through college. Mm-hmm. So now it's like I'm starting to set goals of like what we want to do, where we want to go, building, traveling, and just building those different bonds. So yeah, so thank y'all so much. Ooh, I love y'all.
Next time we come back, can we get paid?
Yeah, I cook you a cake. All right, listen, thank y'all so much for rocking with us. Please continue to roll and please tune in to Miss Dre. You can follow me on Instagram, The Real Miss Dre, and you can hit me up on YouTube with Miss Dre. And what's your IG handles?
Exclusive Maya.
And what you got? You got TikTok
on Instagram and TikTok. Really everything.
It's the same. Exclusive Maya
with 2 I's and 2 A's.
Okay,
Myaa.
Spell it all out.
Right.
Exclusive.
EXCLUSIIVE.
Oh, okay.
Is it a dot? MAYAA. Boom.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Maya. What you got?
I got
IG.
Instagram. I do not post. I do not be on there. I really don't mess with social media besides TikTok and Twitter. Baby, catch me on there. I do not know my @ for Twitter. But it's like Robyn Marie 26 or something like that. If you find me, it's like a picture of a pink R as my profile picture. I like pink. My business.
On my Twitter,
and my TikTok is Robyn wasn't there. Robyn with a Y.